Welcome back, my Golly Vibes family, my brothers and sisters. Um, Erica Alexander was on the Breakfast Club. I'm not too sure if this was recently or a long time ago, but it came across my desk, and she was talking about witches. Um, Somebody related to her, I think it's her grandma, or her mother. We're gonna watch it again, but I want you guys to hear what she said about what witches do in their stores, different places that they own. This is why it's important to have discernment, you guys, because witches really be out here putting spells on people, and you don't even know it. If you don't know who Erica Alexander is, she's the girl who was on Living Single. Many people might know what that is. With Queen Latifah, some other well-known actors and actresses. Yeah, that's Erica Alexander. But she was on the Breakfast Club. Let's go ahead and play it.
My grandmother was a witch. She died in witchcraft, and she had a little cafe, a hole in the wall, and she would put dust over the door. So when people came in, the bell would ring, and dust would fall on it. They called it goofer dust. Well, right across the street was her competitor, and they would have goofer dust too. So she would go back and forth to down deep south, New Orleans, all that.
New Orleans.
Deep, where you from,
She said her grandmother would have goofer dust on top of her door, and when you walk in, it would fall on you. It would sprinkle on you. Oh, my Lord. Terrible. Not only her grandmother, but those across the street had goofer dust too. My Lord. My Lord.
and go get stronger and stronger for me.
Goofer dust.
She came back and they said she was all twisted up with her head in between her legs, barking like a dog.
Wow.
Ooh,
And
that voodoo, that root, boy, I'm
that-
telling you. Have you
yeah.
coughing up frogs?
The women in the church went to go get my eventual godfather, which was William Griffith. He left 3 days. They fast and they pray, and then they come back and then they laid hands on her. They got her through it. And he says, "Daughter, the Lord told me to tell you that if you go back, you'll come back. You'll come back in a box." No, Rev. I promise. I gave that up. And 2 weeks later, they brought her home in a box.
My Lord. So her grandmother was a witch in the witchcraft. Ended up getting herself in a pretzel situation where she was all pretzeled up and barking like a dog. Got out of that by people praying for her and asking the Lord to take her out of that situation, heal her, have mercy on her. And the Reverend said, listen. The Lord said, if you go back, you will die. And she still went back. What is it with the human mind and human brain that we must go back to something after we've been so hurt by this? Even with a lot of people with drugs. A lot of people in different situations where they're addicted to something. What is it? What is the influence inside? What is the spiritual take on it? Strongholds. Spiritual bondage. Spiritual prison. The Lord released her out of this pretzel state and told her, forewarned her, if you go back, you shall die. You will end up in a box. You will come back in a box. And this lady went back. My Lord. My Lord. It's sad. Not only that, but knowing what witches do, the whole store, gets a lot deeper than that. I know a sister who shook hands with a witch, and her hand started changing colors and a snake started to form inside of her skin. Listen, it gets deep. She showed me pictures of her hand, and I was just like, oh my Lord, all that from shaking hands with a witch? Question is, what was on that witch's hand when she shook her hand? What did she know was in that lady's spirit? What was really going on during that transaction? we don't actually realize how deep things can get. We don't actually realize how deep the spiritual realm actually is. And you know why? Because we don't pay enough attention to the word. We don't dive deep enough in it. So the enemy's like, well, just let them stay ignorant. There's no sense in showing the power. They're going to hell anyway. They're not focusing in the word. They're not diving into the revelation. They don't even care about the Bible. They hardly open it up. When you look at it and you blow it, dust comes off of it. Why in the world would we show who we are when we already got them exactly where we want them to be? In pure ignorance. The Lord's saying, come out of that. Time to come into truth. Truth and understanding who we actually are. And truth and understanding what we're actually up against. Darkness. Things that are not of God. Things that are outside of God's nature. We sit here and wonder why the world is going to hell. And why so much darkness is manifesting. And don't even take the time to step back and look at the scriptures. Step back and look at what the Lord has already told us was going to happen. The enemy knows his time is short. That's why it's so much damage and devilish things just coming to light. People aren't even hiding anymore who they are. They're showing you blatantly. Putting it right on screen. No more hidden rituals. They're showing you right at award shows. And we're just taking it in like ignorant human beings. Just, wow, this is art. That's how blind they expect us to be. And they sit back and laugh. Oh, we got them again. They don't learn. They don't learn. We got them exactly where we want them. Sad. The Lord saying, come out. The Lord saying we need to know truth and step into truth. That's why it's important for us to be trumpets, people. To get the truth out there. Start spreading the light. At least then people will see what they're in. A lot of times when you are inside of a dark room with nothing shining, no kind of light anywhere, you're liable to walk into anything, touch anything, grab anything. But if somebody steps into that room and they have a lighter and that lighter sparks, you're going to be able to see what's around you. And if it doesn't look right, you're not going to touch it because now you can see it because of that little spark of light. So let's be that spark of light, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Let's be that spark of light, which is Christ in us. Because believe it or not, if you don't walk with the Lord Christ, the spark that you have is nothing more than a disguise. It doesn't matter about being a good person. It matters about allowing the only one who was good to enter you and grow in you. Increase the Lord as you decrease the flesh. Amen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know a lot of you guys have stories about different family members being witches. Please put it in the comments. I want to read more about it. And those who have more information on this whole goofer dust, put that in the comments too, you guys. Let's read up on it. Amen. Love you guys. God bless. Shalom.